morning, Bucknutters. It's Tuesday, March 21st, 2017. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Usually at this time you hear from the inimitable Dwayne Long. Dwayne is unavailable today, so we've got a more than capable backup checking in from LaGuardia Airport as he's about to do some major business on the road. My man Alex Gleitman. Alex, how's the flight plan look?
It's looking good right now. We're headed up to Boston today, so it should be a pretty good trip. I guess more than capable backup. You could call me Cardale Jones today. I'll take that one.
The boys will be back at spring practice today. It has been opened up to the media. That does not happen often, so make sure you have it locked into Bucknuts all day today. The guys are there as we speak. Alex and I are going to touch on some of the main topics we have here in spring heading in. Neither one of us has really weighed in publicly on this stuff. At least Alex hasn't. The move of Chris Worley to the middle. First, do you like the move? And do you see him being there when the season ends, assuming he stays healthy?
I think the answer is yes and yes. I think when you look at the candidates, I think when you're talking about a middle linebacker, a guy who's going to have to get his nose dirty, he's going to have to play physical, he's going to have to plug up some holes and maybe bounce guys to the outside for those DNs and those quick outside linebackers to eat them up. You want someone who's got that mentality that they're just going to be able to kind of have no regard for their body, stick their nose in there, and not be afraid to make plays. And I think that's what you have in Chris Worley. I think you look at Dante Booker, there's been some questions about his physicality in the past. You look at Justin Hilliard, he's certainly a candidate, but we haven't seen anything from him. He tore a different bicep in each of his first 2 years with the program. So he's still got a lot to prove. And Chris Worley is a veteran. I mean, he's a guy who could captain the defense, and he's certainly a guy who, at the end of the day, he knows what the responsibilities are for everyone on the field at this point, and he's a guy who the coaches trust. So I think, yes, he's a good fit for the middle as far as who they have on their roster right now, and I do think, obviously bearing injury, that he's going to be a guy who at the end of the year is going to be in that middle linebacker position.
Yeah, I'm going to hold out on this. I'm not totally sure how it's going to work out. I do think there are some interesting names. There's so much talent now. We're so far away from where we were 3 or 4 years ago. I just think Baron Browning, Keandre Jones, Justin Hilliard, there's some interesting names there. I'd be very interested to see how this plays out. I wouldn't be surprised to see everybody moved around by the end of the year, but this is definitely a good thing, talent-wise, for sure. And I am confident that Worley will be one of the three, just a matter of where. Some interesting quotes yesterday or recently from J.T. Barrett. He's quoted as saying he knew he couldn't try to go to the NFL coming off the worst game of his life. I get the sense that Barrett kind of does understand that he's been pilloried in the press and some of the fans don't want him there, but he's taken a mature approach to it. Do you think it's the best decision for the team that he came back? And for his NFL career, do you think it was the best move that he came back? Two different questions there, I guess.
Well, I think for his NFL career, I guess I'll start with that one. I think it absolutely is a good move because I don't think he had an NFL career where things were at. I don't think he's fast enough to play a receiver or, another position, running back or whatever it is at the NFL, and I don't think he's shown enough as a quarterback to be a quarterback in the NFL. Would he have gotten a tryout? Absolutely. I don't know if he would have done anything more than be a practice squad guy, and I don't even know if he would have been that. So as far as the NFL, I think, coming back and playing Kevin Wilson's offense, getting the O-line right and getting the receivers right and the play calls and all that, I think that's going to make him a much better quarterback and prepare him much better for the NFL and boost his resume there. So that's first and foremost. And as for the team, I think kind of the jury's out on that. We have to see at the end of the year, kind of looking back, was it the right move? And my gut check is yes. I think Kevin Wilson is going to bring to the Ohio State offense what Chris Ash and then Greg Schiano brought to the Ohio State defense. The Ohio State defense was in horrible shape after, the 2013 season where they were giving up a ton of points, but they were able to score a ton of points. And Chris Ash comes in and the defense becomes one of the best in the country. And then Greg Schiano just continued that. So I think that overnight change is what you're going to see in the offense with Kevin Wilson. I think the play calling is going to be much better. I think the line's going to be playing much better. I think J.T. Barrett's going to be playing much better. And I think you're going to see kind of that Ohio State juggernaut offense once again. And so my gut says, yes, it's going to be the right move for the team to have a fifth-year senior, the only three-time captain in school history, back leading these guys and playing a lot better football under Kevin Wilson and Ryan Day than he has the last couple of years under Tim Beck and Ed Warner.
I tend to agree with you there, but I will say this. This spring game is going to be very interesting because the fans are going to be on the edge of their seats waiting for Joe Burrow or Dwayne Haskins or Tate Martell or anyone even out of the stands to come in and do something special at quarterback. My guess is Kevin Wilson will have, obviously a lot of say in how the plays are run, that Barrett will get the benefit of the doubt there, but that will be very interesting to watch. Our last question, we're going to stick with offense here. We catch a lot of buzz out of the people at spring practice. We're hearing a ton about Ben Victor. Obviously, got more on him coming today. But of the youngsters on offense, we are hearing a ton about J.K. Dobbins, and has led some to think that he might be in position to get more carries this year than we expected. Do you expect Weber to carry the bulk of the load, as Steve Helwagen addressed in his chat today? Do you think Dobbins will eventually get a ton of carries? Will he beat out Antonio Williams ultimately? How do you see the running back rotation working out?
Yeah, I think Mike Weber is going to be your guy. I've heard he's gotten in even better shape than he did from last offseason to this offseason. I think this is his job. There's no more Curtis Samuel there, so someone's going to have to pick up those yards. And I think Mike Weber is going to have an absolutely monster season. Kevin Wilson did wonders with guys like Kevin Coleman and Steven Houston and who's the other back?
Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard, and even Devine Redding this past year. He's going to be an NFL guy out of Glenville. That's a Glenville guy that Ohio State didn't even really recruit. So running backs do pretty well in his offense. And I think Mike Weber's going to have a big year. But that said, I think J.K. Dobbins is a great talent. He's a guy we've been hearing a lot about early on. He's healthy, and I think that he's definitely going to have a role in the offense. I think you saw guys like Curtis Samuel as a freshman. You saw Ezekiel Elliott a little bit as a freshman. Have some sort of role in the offense and get some carries. I think Dobbins maybe even could play a little bit more of a role than that as a kind of a change of pace guy. But that also could depend. How good is Eric Glover-Williams? How good is DeMario McCall at that H spot? They need to replace Curtis Samuel's production ultimately is what I'm saying. I think Mike Weber gets more carries, but I think someone else needs to help pick up the slack as well. And J.K. Dobbins certainly could be that guy.
I totally agree with that, and I think you're going to have a similar thing to the spring game in that J.T. Barrett's probably, or I think it's fair to say probably the right decision at quarterback, but he's not the flashier player. Mike Weber is obviously the right player at running back, but he's not, I don't think, going to be as flashy as Dobbins. So in a spring game scenario, I think Dobbins is going to steal the hearts of many, but we shall see. We appreciate Alex making some time and his busy schedule. We hope he has a safe flight. Remember, Bucknutters, we are all over spring practice today. Keep it locked to Bucknuts. Have a good one.